Welcome to this week's edition of Sports 101, Classes in Session. This week, our topic is the NFL, and I have Joe Flaherty and Nick Amatangelo to talk about their picks for the season. So, right now, guys, who are your preseason picks for the Super Bowl?
Super Bowl, I'm going to have to go with, out of the NFC for sure, the Niners. I just think, I've been saying it since 2011 when they bowed out a little too early. They were going to make the Super Bowl in 2012. They'll win it in 2013. I'm sticking to my guns. It's just Kaepernick and that option offense is just too much for pretty much any defense in the NFL right now. And, I mean, they added Anquan Bolden to the offense, and on defense, they're just the model of consistency. They'll get all these things back. So, I mean, it's just, that's who I'm feeling out of the NFC. AFC, not really sure at this point, but I don't think it matters.
I do agree with you that it doesn't really matter as to who's going to come out of the AFC. Like, pretty much anyone that comes out of that conference isn't going to hold a candle to whoever comes out of the NFC. I do think that the team in the AFC that has the best chance to get to the Super Bowl would be the Broncos. They have the easiest schedule in the AFC. They play the Raiders, the Chargers, and the Chiefs twice each. So I think that they have pretty much the road paved with gold for them to get to the Super Bowl. On the NFC side of the picture, I'm a huge Packers fan, but I have to say that I don't see the Packers making it to the Super Bowl this year. I think it's going to be the Atlanta Falcons. They got the playoff win, monkey off their back. Matt Ryan finally got his playoff win. Now they've brought in Steven Jackson to finally be a more consistent running back. Yes, he is right on the cusp of 30. That's when, running backs start to lose their production. But I still think that he has at least one solid year left. And that's going to be the difference maker for the Falcons. I think that they're going to be able to rise up against anyone that faces them in the NFC. But I do think that the NFC is by far a dogfight.
So now that we have your front runners, who do you guys think is going to be the surprise teams this year?
I wouldn't qualify it as a surprise in my book, but I think the Bears are going to, hometown bias, I think the Bears are going to do a lot of really special things this year and could potentially make this into a nice deep playoff run for a change. I think it's going to take a while. Cutler's still in the process of learning the offense. He won't fully know it until probably the middle of the season, admittedly. And but when everything finally does start clicking, it's going to be, I'm going to be seeing things that I've never seen in orange and blue before, which is an offense, a consistent offense. I mean, you have all the passing weapons. You have a bona fide number one. Alshon Jeffrey's going to step up into a number two. Matt Forte's skill set is built for the West Coast offense. And then Martellus Bennett is just going to, he'll probably end up with a dozen touchdowns just by happenstance of being that huge target in the red zone. Really, the line has been, with the rookies on the right side, have impressed everyone. So it's really a complete offense, and defense is not just going to go away just because Brian Urlacher was gone. His impact was overstated anyway. I mean, I think the Bears are in for it in a good way this year.
I don't necessarily agree with that. Maybe that's because I'm a Packers fan and I look forward to watching the Bears lose every week. But as far as a surprise team this year, I'm going to have to go with Miami Dolphins. The Patriots, while they are still going to be far and away the kings of the AFC East, they're not unfallible anymore. There's chinks in the armor. They lost 4 of their top 5 receiving options from last year. I do think that the Patriots win the division, but I think that Miami, playing in the AFC East, will steal one from the Patriots and be able to sweep the Jets and the Bills, and therefore be able to get into a wild card spot. They got a decent team. Mike Wallace is going to help Ryan Tannehill develop in his second year, so I think that the Dolphins will kind of squeak in and be a wild card.
So those are your teams. Now, who are the players you think that are going to come out as the leading players of the NFL?
It would be so cliche to go with Colin Kaepernick. It's going to be one of those dual threat quarterbacks. It's going to be Wilson or Luck or Kaepernick, who's just going to light the world on fire again. And RG3, I think with RG3, I think there's going to be no trouble in his comeback. It's just not going to be as many designed runs, but he's still going to run for a ton of yardage this year. It's just you're not going to take that strand out of his DNA. And I think the same can be said for Adrian Peterson. It's not going to be a surprise, but he's already I'm going to rush for 2,500 yards. And am I going to doubt him? No. He almost broke the NFL record on one leg last year. So even if he comes like 400 yards short, he'll still break the NFL record. So I mean, it's just going to be fun to watch.
No, I absolutely agree. My pick to click has got to be Adrian Peterson. He was electrifying last year. And this is after coming off a major knee surgery. Didn't break 100 yards for the first 5-6 weeks and still was 9 yards short. And just absolutely tore the Packers' defense apart. Adrian Peterson definitely dragged the Vikings kicking and screaming to the playoffs. I don't know if he's going to be able to drag them to the playoffs again, but I still think that he comes very close to, if not eclipses, the 2,000-yard rushing mark. He's definitely my pick to click this year.
I agree. They finally have, with Greg Jennings coming over, and then they have Cordero Patterson, they finally have an actual offense.
But you got to look at the quarterback, and it all starts with
Exactly.
Christian Ponder, and I don't think that he's the answer at quarterback this year.
I think we saw a ceiling last year.
Absolutely.
All right, well, that's all the time we have here today in Sports 101. Thanks, Joe, Nick, for your insights on the NFL. Homework for next week is to read up on the MLB playoff push, and we'll be back. Class dismissed.